have a question for you. Do you feel that you're constantly bombarded by opportunities, different projects you could work on, all sorts of people coming and saying, I can help you, I can help you. And so that you get kind of overwhelmed and not sure which direction to go? Do you even know? How do you even know if you're ready to invest in yourself? And if so, which opportunity is right for you? So if that resonates with you, then that's what I'm talking about today. This is all about how you can know, are you ready to invest in yourself? And what do we actually even mean by investing in yourself? Because it actually can be much, much, much wider a concept than people often talk about. And also how to decide what is the right option for you. If you are ready to invest in yourself, if you are ready to go to that next level, how to choose which option to go for, right? So let's dive right in. First up, though, I want to ask you another question. And that is, if you're like me, when I hear people going live or writing posts saying, are you ready to invest yourself? What's the first thing that goes through our minds, right? If you're like me, it's, oh my goodness, here's another coach or another course creator or someone with a tool or whatever it is who wants to sell me their thing. And I turn right off. This is not one of those calls. Obviously, I believe that coaching has an important role to play because I am a coach and I've seen the benefits that it delivers, but only if it's the right fit for you. And that's really why I want to share some ideas and principles and concepts with you so that you can actually understand what is right for you right now and get that clarity so that you can make the decisions that are right for you and move forward. So hopefully that's cool. Now, before we go any further, I had better introduce myself. If we haven't yet met, I'm Anna McKinlay, and as I just shared, I am a coach. What I'm truly passionate about is helping mums, and particularly mums who have their own businesses as well, to be able to meet and exceed your goals, create a life that you love without sacrificing your relationships with your family as well as others, your own health, and of course, your precious sanity. So that's where I'm coming from. And I do that through online content like I'm sharing today, through courses and through coaching. So that's a little bit about me. I'd love to know a bit about you as well. So be sure to drop where you're listening from below. And if you're listening in live as well, drop hashtag live. If you're catching the replay, drop hashtag replay. And if you enjoy this content, sprinkle a bit of love around the internet with it. If you know anyone who you feel would benefit from this, feel free to let them know so that they can join the conversation as well. All right, shall we dive right in? So before, getting into the details, one of the things when we think about investing in ourselves is we narrow our focus, and it's because of the way that we've been trained to. So there are a couple of concepts, if you like, some ideas. I would like to invite you to broaden the picture, to rethink what we mean by investing in ourselves. And again, for those of you who are here live, welcome. So great to have you here with me. And please feel welcome to drop below where you're listening in from and just say hi. Great to have you here. So first up, when we talk about investing in ourselves, we often think dollar signs, right? And I'd like to invite you to actually take a step back and think differently about it. When we're investing in ourselves, sometimes we're investing money, but oftentimes it's not. Often we invest in ourselves through spending time, right? When we're putting time into something, that is an investment as well. Now, the thing about the way that we've all been taught in our society is that we take investment seriously when we put money on the line. But let me just share something with you. Money actually is replaceable. I know it often doesn't feel like that, but money is replaceable. Your time is not. In fact, your time is probably the only thing in your entire life that is completely irreplaceable. So I invite you to shift your perspective and recognize the value of your time, and know that when you're putting your time into something, you are spending your time or you're investing your time. And that brings me to the second concept, which is there is a difference between spending and investing. And it's not about the external stuff. At the end of the day, the difference is internal. It's about your intention and your expectations, right? When we are spending something, we are putting our money, we are putting our time, and we're putting our energy. Sometimes it's all three. Sometimes it's a different mix of things. But we're putting our resources into something. And when we're spending it, we're not expecting to get anything back particularly. We're not expecting a return, right? When we're investing it, it's with the intention and the expectation that there will be some kind of return on that investment. So, for example, you invest in a course and you expect to receive skills or receive a shift in what you're doing that pays for the course and hopefully more as well, right? That rewards you, that gives you a return, not just of the money and the value of the time you've put into it, but extra as well. And it's the same with anything, investing in anything. And that's something that is the third point I would like to invite you to think about, which is that, guess what? You are always either spending or investing. Think about that for a moment. Right now, you're listening to this. So you are putting your time and focus into listening to me. Now, if you're not expecting to get anything back from it, that's spending. I would like to invite you to think of it as an investment so that you can have an expectation of getting that return of a shift that is going to help you up level in some area of your life, right? So I will do a recap at the end, but very quickly, when we're investing, it's not just about investing money, it's about investing money, time, energy. And there's always going to be a different balance between those things. Your time out of all of that, it's your time that is the irreplaceable factor. So let's start valuing it. And an investment is different from spending because we do it with the intention of actually receiving some kind of return, right? So I invite you to be okay with that. What's wonderful is that when we do it with the intention of creating a return for all parties, one of those beautiful win-win situations, and there's so many opportunities for that these days. And the third thing that I invite you to reflect on is that you are always putting your resources into something. So you are always putting your time into something. Either you're spending it or you're investing it. And that comes down to your intentions. And with your money, with your energy, same thing. We're spending it or we're investing it. So you get to make that choice. So how do we know? First up, I'm inviting you to think about in what ways am I already investing in myself? Even if you're not putting any money on the table, in what ways am I investing my time and my energy in myself? Now let's talk about how to know if you're ready to up that investment or shift the balance. Okay, so a few things here. I've got about 5 or 6 bullet points I'd just like to quickly run through with you to give you some ideas to cover how to know if you're ready and how to choose. Okay, so the first thing is us catching up to make sure I don't miss any juicy stuff. All right. So important. If you've ever come across Stephen Covey, he wrote a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And one of the core habits in there is start with the end in mind. So how do you know if you're ready to invest in yourself? It actually comes back to thinking about what is it that I want to create in my business and my life? In other words, what is my vision and what are my goals, right? And bringing it back to asking yourself, what are my goals for this year? What is it I want to achieve? So the first question to ask yourself in thinking about, am I ready to invest in myself, is what are my goals for this year? And ... drum roll, what's keeping me from achieving them? When we're really clear on what we want, it's much, much easier to decide whether we're ready to invest in ourselves and to make the decisions around it. It's much, much easier to decide where to put your time as well. And to remember, your time is an investment. But first, we've got to start by being clear about what those goals are, right? So if you're not sure about what your goals are, that's the place to start, is reflecting on what's most important to me, where do I want to be at the end of the year, and what are the goals that can help me move in that direction. And then you can ask yourself, what is keeping me from doing that? Because that identifies the areas where, well, the areas basically that need some love and investment if you're going to achieve what you want. Okay. Second point is, and actually, I do want to just emphasize that there are some questions around your goals, some sub questions, if you like. So when you think about your goals, we want to make sure that they are goals that are achievable for you. And so that also actually involves asking yourself, how much time and energy do I have to put towards these things myself? And what's my financial situation in terms of investing towards my goals? How much progress have I already made on my own, and what are the things that are holding me back? And how confident am I in my ability to achieve those goals without bringing in some kind of external support, whatever that might look like, right? So those are some things to bear in mind. Okay, next thing to take into consideration, you've identified your goals. What's keeping you from achieving those goals? The next question is, do you have the time and the skills to meet those gaps yourself? So thinking about the obstacles, what's keeping me from my goals, do I have the time and the skills to do that myself? And if the answer is no, well, it's which is it, the time or the skills? And again, usually there's an overlap. If we don't have the skills, but we do have the time, we can learn the skills. If we don't have the time, but we do have the skills, or can I reorganize things to create the time, right? If we have neither, there's an issue there, and maybe I need to get some external support to fill that gap, whether it's outsourcing or something else, right? So this involves as well thinking about the next point, which is, even if I have the skills and the time to do the thing, is that actually the most efficient use of your time? This is something I see all the time in entrepreneurs, mums that I work with, clients that I work with, and people across the board is, oh my goodness, so many entrepreneurs and solopreneurs seriously undervalue their time. Not everybody, but a lot of people do, especially when getting going. Put a lot of time into things with the implied belief that our time is free. And again, I remind you, your time is the only thing you have that's not replaceable. Your time is probably the most precious thing you have in your life in that sense. So we have to ask ourselves, even if I have the time and the skills to do the things necessary to get to my goals, is that the most efficient use of my time? And the key question here is to think about your time as having value. It can feel really difficult to put a dollar value on our time. Often people don't know where to start. Here's a place to start. The one value that we know is completely incorrect is zero. So if you're putting a zero value on your time, I invite you to stop and actually put a real dollar value on your time, so that you can actually make apples versus apples decisions when you're deciding whether to put money on the table to bring something in to help you in your business versus doing it yourself. A great place to start is to ask yourself, if I were spending this time with a client who pays me by the hour, what would they pay me for an hour of my time? And if you're not sure about that, or if you want to put a low number on it, look at what your competitors, people who are providing a similar service to you, what are they charging for an hour of their time, right? That gives you a benchmark of what your time is worth. And then when you're comparing putting my time versus putting some money on the table, you're comparing apples with apples, and you can make a decision that helps you actually optimize. A great question when we're thinking about this is faced with this decision, what is the choice that a 6-figure entrepreneur, or even better, a 7-figure entrepreneur would make, if that's the kind of person that you want to be, right? So one thing, of course, to bear in mind is cash flow. If you've got a business, cash flow is king, and we need to look after that. And that really is the next point. We need to ask ourselves, is this the most efficient use of my time? And we also need to ask ourselves, do I have the cash flow to support putting the money into investing in myself? Because here's the thing. You can say, yes, it stacks up on the numbers, but if putting that money on the table, given all of your other financial commitments, is going to create what I call financial wobble, if it's going to cause you stress around money, that's going to influence the way you show up in your business. It's going to influence your daily decisions and choices. When we're stressed, we're less creative, we see fewer opportunities, and that's not going to help your business. So in thinking about, am I ready to invest in myself? When we bring it down to the question of, am I ready to invest money in myself? Put it in the context of your other financial commitments and what you're expecting to come in and all that cash flow stuff, because it does make a difference. And part of that is about what is your own personal risk profile, right? How much risk around money can you tolerate without tipping into that state of feeling anxious, feeling stressed? Because when you're in that state, despite what other people might say, that feeling of stress and anxiety around money does affect our outcomes in our business. And plus, it's just not good for you, right? But it's also not good for your business, your ability to innovate, your ability to see opportunities, your ability to find solutions and all that stuff. So we want to avoid that. All right. Next thing is, and this is a really important one that we often forget about. When it comes to investing in yourself, how will you measure success? That's an important one to think about. In fact, I even bring it up the list and say, when you're thinking about your goals, how will you measure success? Because you want to know. Remember, an investment is where you're expecting a return of some kind of what you're putting in and on top of what you're putting in, right? So you want a return of the money and time and the value of the time that you're investing, and you're also wanting to create value on top of that and receive value on top of that. All right. So how will you measure that success? It could be in terms of dollars in your bank account. It could be in terms of number of clients that you're serving. It could be something completely different. It could be a shift in how I'm showing up. It could be a change in my mindset, for example, the way I think about things. In fact, I'll share a personal example with you on that. You might have noticed that I'm not in my usual place doing this live. I'm sitting in our camper van. Cool. Our camper van is an investment. From a business point of view, it's not an investment. It was something that we bought personally. But when we bought it, part of the reason for investing in a camper van, we took money out of our retirement fund and we put it into this. Why? Because it creates a lifestyle and solid, rock solid evidence that we have freedom, we have abundance, and even better, it aligns with the vision that I have for growing my business, which is that I serve people like you all around the world from wherever I am, the lifestyle business. That's why I'm now speaking to you from my camper van, because I have that flexibility and that freedom to run my business from wherever I am in the world. That is an investment in becoming the kind of entrepreneur that I choose to be, right? So an investment might even look like it's got nothing to do with your business and still create a return for your business and for you. I hope that makes some sense to you. Drop some comments, by the way. I'd love to hear what is resonating with you as you listen, regardless of whether you're live or on the replay. I'd love to hear your thoughts and any little ahas or nuggets or perspective shifts that you're getting. All right. So measuring success on your investment, there's the obvious numerical ones like dollars and clients, as I've mentioned. But depending on what the return is that you're intending from the investment, it might be other things, other softer things. I've talked about a shift in mindset. It could be other things like reduced working hours, better sleep for you, more time with your family, more time for you, your own self-care, maybe reduced stress. If that's part of the return that you're looking for from investing in yourself, how are you going to measure success? Is it the number of times a week you get at least 8 hours of sleep, right? Or at least 6 hours of sleep, depending where you're starting from? Or is it the number of hours you get to spending quality, uninterrupted time with your family or the people that you love? Or is it something else, right? That's something that you can measure. And then sometimes there are returns. There are things we want from our investments that are harder to measure objectively. If that's the case, you might use a self-rating scale. And an example, so if we take the stress one, if you want to invest, for example, in getting a coach or doing a mindset course or bringing in a VA or any of those things to help you reduce the amount of stress you're experiencing, start by actually assessing how stressed am I on a scale of, and there are actually also physiological tests you can do to look at how much stress your body is under. But if you don't want to go to all of that trouble, you can just use a scale, 0 to 10 or 0 to 100, and self-assess yourself. Right now, before investing in myself, where do I put myself on a scale of 0 to 100, where 100 is high and 0 is nothing? How stressed am I? And then you can check in from time to time and see how that is changing for you. So that's another way to do it. But we really, if we're intending a return, we want to have a way of measuring that return. All right. So the last piece, hopefully that has given you some nuggets, some ideas to think about. Am I ready to invest in myself? I'm already investing time and energy. And when it comes to bringing money into the mix, how do I know if I'm ready? I've run through some points with you. The biggest thing that keeps a lot of people stuck, though, is there are so many options and there are so many opportunities. How do I choose, right? How do I choose what investment to make? And again, it comes back to starting with the end in mind. When you think about your goals and the impact you want to have in the world, what is the biggest gap area? Those obstacles, those things that are keeping you from your goals. Which is the one that is having the biggest impact on your ability to move forward? That's a great place to start, all right? A second thing I'd invite you to think about is when it comes to outsourcing or delegating, and that's about freeing up your time, making sure that you're using your time efficiently and so on. Think about, what are my levels of expertise? Absolutely, in my areas of experience, right? So if there's something that you don't have the skills or the time to do, it makes sense to delegate that, right? But even if it's in your expertise, what are the things that light you up? Because if you truly want to have a big impact in the world, and if you truly want to have a life that you love, the end goal is to shift into putting your time and your energy into the things that light you up, the things that allow you to draw on your unique strengths. So it's not just what are the things that I've learned to be good at, it's what are the things that draw on the unique package of strengths that you are, so that you can have the satisfaction of doing something that aligns with you, right? So thinking about that in terms of thinking about what do I want to outsource or delegate, also in terms of what courses do I want to do, what allows me to put more of my focus onto the things that light me up, or even just the things that feel good, and what are the things that allow me to use my strengths more. Because the more you're using your strengths and doing the things that feel good, the more you'll find that things accelerate for you. Right, so that's something to take into consideration. And the third point in choosing which one, which investment is right for me right now, is I've talked about alignment with your goals, but it's also vitally important that when you're investing your time and your money, you're investing in an option that aligns with your core values and your personality and how you feel good about showing up in the world. I've invested time and sometimes money into a number of things over my business journey. And this is the one that has been the most painful. There are so many programs out there And there are so many people who have proven approaches that work, and they have evidence, and they've got case studies, and they've got stories. And you can look at it and go, yes, 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 I can see why that works. And it's very, very exciting. And usually these people know how to push your psychological buttons too, but that's another story. We can look at those things and go, yeah, absolutely, I can see it's a proven process, and I can see that it works. But the question is, does it align with who I am and the kind of entrepreneur I want to be? Because if it doesn't align with your values, if it doesn't align with your core strengths, who you are as a human being, doesn't matter how good the system is, you're not going to do it. Hey, Kristen Orwin, so great to see you here. Thanks for dropping that comment. Great to have you along. Oh gosh, I'd love to hear your comments on this as well, because I know you'll have some juicy insights. So really important in thinking about where to invest your time, your energy, and your money. Make sure it's in alignment with who you are, who you choose to be, your goals. So it's not just a pure cost benefit with dollar signs on it. It's a question of alignment, right? So let me just sum up. What's the bottom line? The bottom line is, well, firstly, that no matter what your decision is, it's your decision. When you're deciding, am I ready to go further in the ways that I'm investing in myself? The only person who can know if you're ready, and the only person who can know what choice is right for you, is you. So please let go of all of the shoulds, let go of all of the things that other people that you know are doing that's working for them. Because it's working for them, that's a wonderful thing. The question for you to ask yourself is it right for me? And you're the only person who gets to make that call. So trust in yourself, and also trust in your gut and your intuition, because your intuition knows what feels right for you. If you're not sure whether or not you're ready to invest yourself, then ask yourself these key questions. And if after that you're still uncertain, my suggestion would be to actually pause, wait, invest in yourself, especially when it comes to your time, your energy, and your precious dollars as well. Invest in yourself when it feels like a hell yeah, when it feels right for you. And if you're uncertain, feel free to take the time to make sure it's a good decision for yourself. So here are the questions. What are my goals? What are my goals? Right? That's always the place to start. Start with the end in mind. What are the obstacles, the gaps, the challenges that are keeping me from my goals? Do I have the skills and the time to do the things necessary to move me forward, to overcome those obstacles? And then taking account of all of those things, even if I do it, will I have to compromise on something else? So if I put the time in and the money in, does it mean I'm having to compromise on another commitment? Is this the most efficient use of my time? Remembering that your time has a value. It is the most precious thing that you have. It's the only thing you can't replace. So please value it when you're answering this question. Is doing this myself the most efficient use of my time, even if I have the skills? What is my budget for investing in support? Remember, we've got to have the cash flow. Is this going to create financial wobble and stress for me? If it is, then you want to be rock solid in your self-belief before investing. If it's going to create anxiety and stress for you, you may not be ready to invest yet, right? And answering those questions, being honest with yourself around that, is going to help you make a decision that feels right for you. The final one, of course, is this in alignment with who I am, with my values, with my personal strengths, and the person I'm choosing to be in the world? And if the answer to that is a no, doesn't matter how the numbers stack up, it's probably not for you. Okay, so I hope that has served. Hey, Kristen, love your comments here. So I'm just going to share these with our audience. We're totally in alignment about alignment. I love that. Thank you. And I love Kristen has shared, see why you think the person is right for you. So that's a really good one to think about as well, is if you're thinking about investing in someone's program or coaching with someone or whatever it is, ask yourself, what is it about this person or this opportunity that's feeling exciting to me? And ask yourself, is this true to me, right? Is this a good fit? And going with your gut. Going with your gut is super important. You actually have brain cells in your gut. Your intuition is a real thing. It's your whole mind putting together all of the information that's available, most of which is not available to your conscious thinking mind. So we've got to get out of weighing up the pros and cons and doing all of that analytical stuff that we do, and also tap into your intuition, because your intuition is actually probably the most powerful tool in your decision-making toolkit. Thank you so much there, Kristen, for your super on point comments. I love that. And thank you everyone for joining me. I hope that has served. So quick recap, very quick recap. First up, you're always investing in yourself or spending your resources. So you're putting your time and all your money and all your energy into things all the time. The difference between spending and investing comes down to our intention and expectations. Are you intending or expecting to get a return of some kind from the resources you're putting in? Or are you just spending it? And that's your choice. That's up to you, right? When it comes to investing in ourselves, it's not just about the dollars. Your time has a value, your energy has a value. Money is replaceable, even when it doesn't feel like it. Your time is not. So we want to bear that in mind. And you want to remember that you are always investing in yourself. You are doing it right now. It's about your expectations. Whenever you put time into something, you're spending or you're investing, and it's up to you which one it is. How to know when you're ready? Think about your goals. Do you have goals? What are they, and what's holding you back? What is it that you need to move forward? Do you have the time and the skills to do it yourself? Even if you do, is it an efficient use of your time to do this versus the other things that you could be using your time for? And when it comes to putting money on the table, will that create any financial wobble for you? Or do you have the funds to invest, and does the cost benefit add up? And when thinking about that cost benefit, what is the right option for you? Only you get to decide. And it comes down to, is it in alignment with your goals, with the value of your time? Remember, is this an efficient investment of my time? And does it align with who you choose to be in the world, with your core values, with the impact you want to have, with your strengths? And of course, the gut test. What's my intuition saying? Yes or no? So wonderful. So glad you were able to come on live too, Kristen, and thank you so much for your input. Absolutely love it. So I'm going to wrap up there. Anna McKinley, helping mums running their own businesses to be able to meet and exceed your goals without sacrificing your health, your relationships, and your sanity. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back next week at the same time, so I'll look forward to seeing you then. And you enjoy the rest of your week. Bye for now.